Good afternoon, viewers. I'm sure by now you have become accustomed to get the quality discussion from ICISS forum. We have been bringing very important discussions on very relevant and professional subjects so far as industrial security management is concerned. And we hope and seek to make security professionals the real professionals in true sense. Today's discussion also is one of that series in which we bring experts who will discuss in great length the subject topic. Today's subject topic is seamless system integration, open source or licensed software. For system integration, the security consultants, the security integrators, and the corporate security managers are often gripped with the nagging question: should they go for open source or closed source management software while seamlessly integrating various security systems and bringing them on common platform? Cost is one important consideration, but foremost is the challenge of bringing various different technologies on common platform and managing them seamlessly, tirelessly, and effectively. In the security leadership discussion, we will analyze this issue with our esteemed speaker, Shri Ranjan. He is founder and director of business development at Acktron Security System. And I take this opportunity and privilege, Ranjan, to welcome you formally in our discussion. And let me also introduce Ranjan because that will be again, my pleasure to make full introduction of Ranjan to our viewers. This position which Shri Ranjan holds as founder and director of business development at Acktron Security System is with lot of field experience, hands-on experience, doing what he is now preaching and preaching what he has already done and is still doing. He is a seasoned security system integrator, and through his company he has done many prestigious orders. System integration is his chosen field, and as security professional with passion for exploring new developments in security, especially related to artificial intelligence, facial recognition technology, cyber security, migration from legacy to new generation system, and keeping pace with the changing technological advancement. These are the areas about which Ranjan is very passionate. He has designed and implemented several integrated security management systems on high-profile projects, partnering with several international brands. He is also active member of certification study group, volunteer at ISIS. This discussion, gentlemen, is brought to you by ICISS, International Council for Industrial Security and Safety Management, which is in forefront in professionalizing the security profession. You can get the link to our channel. Subscribe if you have not already subscribed. So, Abhay, bringing you to discussion, kindly share the basic understanding of open source and closed source, and then we'll go further into discussion.
Thank you so much, Captain Tyagi Saab. It's my privilege to be with you in this discussion, and having known you for all these years. So apart from being such a wonderful person, I know, sir, you have a thorough knowledge on security, and I have been learning every time I meet you or talk to you. There is something which I take away as a new learning. And once again, sir, it's a privilege to be with you in this discussion, and I look forward to that surprises and the questions that you will be throwing at me. And hence, I hope along with me, all other viewers also enjoy this session. So allow me to take a few seconds to just give me my background, then which will be sort of merging with today's topic on open source or license. So with the background that I come from, way back in 1990s, early 90s. So I started my career as a development engineer. So starting the scratch, the PCB designs, and then using the ICs, completing the circuits, completely designing from scratch. So that was the time when I started my career, and I enjoyed a lot doing all this development. And when these used to function in the workshops, from the labs to workshop, that transition, so that used to give a lot of satisfaction. But yes, I had my immediate superior, so who taught me, which is again relevant to what we are talking today, to move away from this proprietary thing and look for something open standard which is available in the market. So it was hard for me to digest, and I took it the other way around, that maybe my immediate boss is not feeling happy, something that which I developed. But later on, I realized, until date, I thank him for the guidance, which we are talking of open platforms. So that time we had moved on from hardwired PCB designs to PLCs. Those days PLCs were already in market and very much stabilized. So the energy which we were taking, our own energy, like of reinventing a wheel. So we stopped doing that. We started getting the proven, tried, tested, proven PLCs, and we spent our energy on programming. Only the software part that we were doing. So that was again like doing your own logic, writing your own logic rather than hardwire. So we were writing it on the software. So we started using the standard platform which was openly available in the market, and we utilized that time in sort of, if not doubling, at least tripling our production. So we started manufacturing more and more controllers in the same time that we used to do earlier, and that helped us a lot. The end users also, they felt quite comfortable when they were looking at the hardware which was already proven. And here I will try to avoid to the best possible extent taking any brand name of any brands, as it shouldn't appear at any point of time as a marketing pitch. But please do excuse me in case something comes out while talking or speaking a particular brand. But there's no intention of promoting any brands, and I'll try to refrain from doing so, whatever best possible. So the end customers, I was telling, they used to look at the hardwares, and that used to give them the comfort that yes, these hardwares are going to sustain for long, and the quality was already assured by those brands, backed up by our design on the software front. So that gave the customer flexibility, that gave us also the flexibility in case the end user wants certain modifications. So that was very easy to do because the open platform of the hardware that was available, and it provided all the flexibility of doing whatever you can do. That was my starting of the career as a development engineer. And later on, I transitioned into security, where I got an opportunity to work and get into the security industry, where the electronic security industry was just growing. So I got an opportunity to work with that time also. It was a big multinational company which actually got security culture into India. When I say security culture, that was transition from chowkidars to guards. So that the company was Group for Securitas that time. I have a lot of respect for that organization. That happens to be my institute, and a lot of learning that did take place there. So those days, access control systems or CCTV system was not at all popular, and it was very difficult to give any reference to explain the end customer what exactly this access control system is. Nowadays, yes, even a child knows what a smart card is because they are using it in the metros, so they know what a smart card is. But that time, an access card and an access control door or an electromagnetic lock, it was very, very hard to explain. And we used to take the references of Bond movies. So we used to explain the customer, you've seen in that movie, you show the card and it opens up. So that was the time when the electronic security system was pretty new in India, and I was fortunate to get this opportunity to enter into this security industry. And those days, again, I'll try to gradually merge with the topic, today's topic of open platform vis-a-vis licensed or proprietary platform. Those days we used to use vegan cards. So anybody who is into electronic security access control would understand what a vegan card is. So basically, it's a industry standard protocol, and it's been in use since 1980s. So those days, vegan cards were used in access control system. That was a very complex card using a wired pattern, a typical wired pattern, which created something unique code like a barcode, but it was purely a mechanical device, a hardwired device, where only the wires, pattern of wires, they used to help all these things form a barcode kind of a pattern. Later on, it transitioned to magstripe, and then proximity, and nowadays we all see contactless cards and even mobile credentials. So coming back to this Weigand thing, this Weigand initially was a proprietary thing, and later on it became an industry standard protocol. Almost all the card readers that we have in access control industries, almost all the card readers, so they blindly follow vegan protocol. That's the communication or interface between the card reader and the access control device. For example, I can use brand A of card reader, and I can use brand B of access control, and vice versa. So this allows you the flexibility to choose any card reader, any controller. The end user is not restricted to a particular brand that is stuck to it, and we cannot go for any other thing. This also took a lot of time for transition and stabilizing over a period of time. On the face of it, it does appear that it's a standard protocol, but at the back end, certain things were locked. And later on, again, when the competition increased and the customer education also increased, so they started demanding on the standardization. So they wanted to have the flexibility, the freedom to use anything of their choice. Something similar happened on the CCTV, the video surveillance industries as well. Initial days, it used to be simple, your analog video, where it was a raw video, which used to be transmitted through your coaxial cable, and then we used to have those time-lapse video recorder. For multiplexing, we used to have multiplexer, and they used to have encoders. So gradually, we migrated from analog video to the IP, and IP video systems. They were, for quite some time, each and every OEM, they were working on their own proprietary protocol. Over a period of time, again, now we must have come across this terminology called ONWIF, which is a well-known industry standard protocol in CCTV industry. So we all know that this has been a big relief for all the end users, because they are not stuck with any particular brand of camera, and then they are stuck with that particular brand of video recorders or a video management software. So this is the flexibility that ONWIF as an industry standard has given to all the end customers. So this is, in brief, I've tried to give my background, starting from the R&D, starting from the scratch, hardwired, PCB-based design, to a mix of already tried, tested, proven standard hardware, and then adding on to that our standard software, seeing the hardwired access cards to contactless access cards on the your mobile-based credentials. So this is the transition we all have seen. At least I, with my age, have seen that transition. It is something like experiencing your mechanical typewriter to now a tab. So this is what is the background, and I give it to you, Captain Saab, for the next stage. Thank you.
When we talk about open source, and that open source means you can buy the software, use it, and there will not be any restriction that brand A or brand B only would be used for cameras or what all we have to be integrated with it. So you mean to say that open source would be economically cheaper option than the other one?
Uh, Definitely, sir. When we talk commercially, open source software or open source products will anytime be cheaper than the licensed product for obvious reason. The base code is already developed and is available on the open platform. And since that has been developed by non-commercial groups or forums, and most of them are being done by the passionates, so who at times also take time out of their job. It's basically their off time job as a passion. They develop, and it's a forum, it's a community, and everybody contributes to it. So hence they don't charge for it. Their source of income is nothing but donations or contribution or just their own passions. So since they are available on the open platform, and it is basically they are bound by the general public license, so which clearly states that you are free to use. Rather, we all talk of copyright. There is something called copy left. So this open source or open codes, so they are driven by copy left, which means that I am free to utilize that source code which is available on that forum. I can use it, I can pass it on without charging, or I may also charge. It's actually, when we say free, it's the freedom. It's not the commercially free. It's up to me. I may charge, I may not charge. Nobody is going to stop me.
So what
So
you mean to say is that open source is relatively, in relative term, free to use. But
yes,
to use first time, you need to buy it, right? So it is not free. Certain software, management software might be freely available, and certain open source software may charge initial amount for purchase of the software. But when it is licensed software, then not only you need to buy the software and get the user key, you also need to pay for all the patches, upgradation patches, any tool, any functionality developed by the license holder. For that they will charge money. So one is with initial cost, and other one would be with the recurring cost. Am I correct to understand that?
yes, to quite some extent, sir, what you said is absolutely right. Uh, the only thing is that it's, as I said, it's free to use, but that doesn't mean it is free. But on the source, the general public license or the forum, GPL forum, I can simply download it today because everything is on the cloud. Earlier days, it used to be on the DVDs or CDs or pen drives, but everything is available on the cloud today. I can download it, but there is no cost to it. There is no charge to it. If I am a user, I can simply use it. If I am a developer, I can develop it further. I can add on, do some value additions. I can sell it further. It's up to me. I may charge, I may not charge. But to me, if I download it, there is no cost to it. That is freely available. The original, the base source is freely available. And again, there are different type of licenses. One is like you simply have the source code. You are free to contribute further, do the enhancements, and I repeat, I can pass it on, distribute it further, charge it or not charge it. I can develop it. I can charge a further fee, but I cannot stop. I cannot stop anybody else to do further development on that. That's what we call copy left. So I'm doing it, I'm earning some money out of it. Some other developer might also use the same source code and do his or her own development on that and further sell it. I may sell it for say 100 rupees, the other person may sell it for 150 or 50 or no cost to it. So I cannot stop, I cannot deny any right to the other person if I've done any modification. The other person is equally free to use that software. That's what we call freedom of use when it comes to open sources. So it does helps in a lot of different ideas. When you talk of community, a lot of different ideas come into picture, and that's how it has been growing. The simple examples are your Linux or Android. So it provides an open platform. Any developer is free to use this platform and further develop their own applications. So that is one simple example that we all know, we all experience in our day-to-day life.
So, as system integrator, Abhijit,
So
how you suggest your client to go for open source or licensed software? What are the considerations you will have in mind when you advise your client to go for open source or licensed software?
right, sir. We as a system integrator, we come in between. We are an interface. Like these source codes are an interface between the user and the device. So we as a system integrator, we are also as an interface between the system and the end user. So obviously, we will try our best to suggest something which is beneficial for the end customer and also does not hampers us as a service provider when it comes to providing services or support. So we also look for something when it comes to our sources. We look for something which is standardized and which is readily available. And then, of course, every end customer will have their own customized requirement, some unique requirement. So these standard products, they give us flexibility to build up and customize it as per the end user's needs. So we were just talking, as I just mentioned, about two standards, one on access control and one on CCTV industry, the vegan protocol on access control and then OnWave on video service industry. So those standardization did help a lot, especially when you talk of CCTVs. So cameras, they keep changing very frequently because every day, every moment is a development. Today, I might be standardized on 2 megapixel cameras, and then tomorrow the same company might discontinue 2 megapixel because the cost of production might have come down for 4 megapixel. So they might discontinue 2 megapixel, 4 megapixel camera is now into play. But I must make sure that this new camera is compatible with the old hardware on the recording system or the video management server. So this is one challenge which we face and which we try to educate our customers to go for, let's say, just for the sake of discussion, the flexibilities on the server-based solution, because that provides you upgradation facilities on the NVR side. So the upgradation doesn't take that frequently, but on the server-based software, the upgradations are frequently available. You can do a lot of patches very frequently. Any new camera that has come into the market that might not be supported by the old software, you can quickly do a patch updation and you are ready to use the new hardware as well. So we try to educate our customer to use a standard product so that tomorrow they are also not stuck, and we as a service provider, we are also not in an embarrassing situation that we cannot provide a support on that. So these standardization on the protocols, whether vegan in case of access control or OnWave in case of CCTVs, so these definitely have helped us. And over a period of time, more and more end customers, they have started using these standardizations. Even sub part of these standard protocols, so there are certain encryption, like your OnWave protocol has got different profiles, profile S, profile A, profile G, profile T, because those things you experience, especially for a case of PTZ cameras where a particular function might not work. You feel that it's an OnWave protocol, means it's a standard protocol available in the industry, and the camera says it's OnWave. But unfortunately, because of competition, every OEM, then they go into more and more depth and they try to write some special unique code or some special feature for them, which must use a particular profile, which I was telling you, whether profile A, G, or T. So that is something, again, which is possible if you have a server-based system, you can simply upgrade it, rather than if you compare to a hard-coded NVR, which is a network video recorder, which is a box, and the operating system is not accessible to you. That is again an example of a closed box, like what we are just talking of open source or closed source. So that's like a closed box as compared to your software-based video management system. So this definitely helps the customer to go for a standardized system. By standardized, I again mean something which is openly available in the market. A particular OEM stops manufacturing or discontinues a product, so the end customer doesn't get stuck up on one thing. Without naming the brand, we all have been experiencing badly when it comes to card readers, access card readers. It's been now almost more than 18 months we are still struggling on those card readers. Those were industry standard card readers, but again, they had some proprietary chip. And post-COVID, the whole world is facing that acute problem, acute shortage of chips, those semiconductors. And 90% of the market share is captured by that particular OEM. Everyone is stuck up. Again, without naming the end customers, they are all high profile customers who would not even think of entering the office, their new office, till the time their security system is up and running. So those high profile customers, they had to defer their inaugurations or move in or use additional man force to counter this problem of supplies. So that was again in disguise. That is supposed to be a standard product, but all of a sudden we realized that it was only dependent on one particular OEM, and the whole world was stuck up because of that. We tried out different options, but eventually it was narrowing down to that particular chip, which was found to be proprietary of that particular OEM. So even OnWave, if you say it's an open platform, but there are certain encryption which have been added. So with passage of time, as and when the end customers they get educated on various different platforms and association, even your ISS also they do a lot of educational sessions. They help them demand the standardization, and that has been what is helping them as well as it is helping us also. We are passing on the information to the OEMs, and they are forced to standardize their products.
So now I understand, confirm whether I'm right or wrong, that you as system integrator try to identify any specific needs your customer has, and then you realize that those needs can be met by open source management software, or customer has very specific requirement which can be met only by the proprietary software, and that is how you decide. So you try to understand the problem correctly, and then you get the solution. You mentioned 3-4 times about server and software, right? So since our second tagline of security leadership discussion is that complex matters simply explained. So kindly share with the viewers, are there other options also beside what you mentioned, server and software?
Sir, as I also mentioned during this course of discussion, we moved from PCBs to PLCs to DVRs, time-lapse recorders to digital video recorders to network video recorders, server-based VMS, and then we are also talking of all cloud-based solution. So entire cloud, it's like it's not only storage. It started with storage. Now the entire processing is also done by cloud. Cloud is nothing. It's again somewhere at the back end, some hardware, some server is there. It is being resided in a third-party premise. Like we all have standardized big names like Microsoft or Amazon, or Google. They host their own cloud servers. So you have the flexibility of choosing the specification that you want that will suit your requirement. So that is one step ahead of what we're talking of standardization and flexibility. You are not restricted to only one hardware. And with increasing complexity of the software and dependency on the software packages and the solutions, so it is also very important to have the failover mechanism. So in case the main server fails, or in case of a video serverless, the video management server fails, the entire system is shut down. So these cloud-based solution or your managing as well as storage on the cloud, that gives you the additional advantage of redundancy. The entire responsibility lies on the cloud server service provider, and some of the solution providers, they are also providing this solution as a service, what we call software as service, SaaS. That's a terminology which you might have come across. So the software is as a service. It's a subscription. You might feel that you may require this software for just say 6 months or 1 year, maybe 2 years. After that, you might be upgrading it, or you might discontinue. Your office might be shifting. So there you simply enter into a subscription. Again, that's again type of a license. You take a time bound license. So this is again to do with what we're just talking of, open or proprietary softwares. Transferring this entire mechanism to a third party server, so that processes as well as does your storage, provides you a failover, additional failover, and gives you flexibility of keeping updation, which is provided by your video management system provider. So they provide updates. You have a new software, you have a new analytics, and especially on the analytics, you will see most of these companies which are providing you the video analytics solutions. So they start from the open source platforms. Those source codes on face recognition systems or any other video analytics, they are available on the open platform. Any developer just needs to pick up those source codes, either it is provided by some university or some forum, and it really works. The very basic form really works. And if the end user, as an end user, if you would like to use it, it is available free of cost. But again, we all have tendency to customize it, and we have our own wish list. So that's where these proprietary software or the licensed software, they come into picture, where the developers, they add their own features, or they develop or customize as per the requirement of the end user. So that is what is customization, and then you're further licensing it. Nowadays, you will find all the package, whether it is access control or video management system, they come fully loaded. They come fully loaded, and you pay for the licenses only for the features that you want. For example, you just need a camera, number of cameras are say 200, so you pay for 200 licenses. You add on 200 more, then you pay for additional 200 more, and then you just need two more licenses, two more camera licenses. So you keep on paying for those licenses. It will unlock from that particular package which you already have. You want to unlock the video analytics feature, you want to unlock the face recognition feature, it is already there. But to unlock that, you need a license code or a decryption code. So those are the entire package which has been customized for the end customers, and they get it free. They develop it, they customize it, they are charging for their service. It's like the same Bisleri water bottle, or your bottled water is available for 10 rupees outside. The same water bottle might be available for 40 rupees inside the airport. The same water bottle might be available in a 5-star hotel for 100 rupees. So it's basically the service, the ambience that is added on, the value addition that has been done. Same thing is there for these open source software. So this has been very helpful tool, and it saves a lot of time for the new aspiring developers. And you would have seen there are so many startups which are doing these video analytics. It has been really helpful. All I would say, thanks to this open forum and the general public licenses, which has helped these new startups take on, and they are utilizing their energy only in refining and not starting from the scratch, not reinventing the wheel.
Right. In fact, Vijay, the security leadership discussions we are holding for the benefit of corporate security managers. And as we realize that corporate security managers need to have elementary understanding of technology and technical matters, that's why we started discussions on technologies also. And today, when you talk about what exactly is needed by the corporate security manager for effective discharge of his duties, then he also needs to understand what are the technical options available, what are the solutions available. Then only he will specify his requirement. And then if he is not actually pinpointing his need, why that need is arising, and if he does not have elementary knowledge how that need may be responded answered, then he will fail in his professional functions. So discussion like we are having today with you will be helpful. So my next question would be again being on the same subject, but with a little variation. We had a time where IP addressable cameras were coming with the PTZ. So when you buy IP addressable camera, it will come with PTZ. And you actually may not need PTZ facility. Someone somewhere realized that when I need IP addressable cameras and I don't need PTZ features, why should I end up paying 60% of total cost? Because that is my elementary understanding of PTZ cameras mechanism and minus it the camera's cost. It is like that. So someone when part of maybe system integration or maybe from customer feedback, it went to OEM. Then they realized yes, there is need to give the options. So today we have options: IP addressable cameras without PTZ facilities. So you have also witnessed that thing. So there were three major groundbreaking changes which happened in CCTV. It was with coaxial initially, migrating from coaxial to OFC. Then it was VHS to digital, right?
Yes.
And then camera also went through the technological changes. So three major changes happened. And then suddenly we realized that it is not question of 30 cameras. Today probably we require 300 cameras. So video management and video compression and then data storage, that became another challenge. So today the fourth level of challenge probably OEM and system integrators are facing, because they need to give right options to the end user, their customer. So what exactly is happening now, so far as CCTV is concerned? I'll have similar question for access control also. So let's now we discuss about CCTV, new options, new horizons.
Sir, as you rightly mentioned about the transition and then providing the flexibility when it comes to the hardware also, why should the end user pay for something which is not required with them? So that we have all seen that transition as well. And the initial days, we used to have a fixed camera and a different pan, tilt, and zoom mechanism. And later on, with the enhancement of technologies, all those things started coming in a dome package. And obviously, this over a period of time, we even today the old systems are there on analog, so they have turned into analog HD cameras. For simple requirement, we still say that you need not unnecessarily go for a IP system, especially for say homes or smaller requirement where you don't want to get involved. Any IT guy simply go for analog system. Analog system might sound obsolete, but at times they are very effective. And we also have up to 8 megapixel or even 12 megapixel in analog HD cameras as well. But all said and done, all the new developments are taking place only in the IP systems for obvious reasons, because that supports pretty large installations, and it gives you a distributed architecture so that the entire system is quite stabilized. We have experienced that when it comes to large system, not all the brands can support, and that's where you talk of specializations. So you will find jerks, and then you will find video losses. So these are things which calls for something what we call enterprise level solution. So here, those speed of encryption and the level of encryption matters a lot. For larger installations, these analytics, they play a lot of role when we talk of say hundreds of cameras on screen and you have a limited number of operators. So for obvious reason, after 20 minutes, they will lose their attention. And you need something to raise an alert to pop up on the screen, something unexpected which has happened or something unwanted which has happened, where we take the advantage of these video analytics or video content analytics. So they help. All these advancements are taking in this field of video analytics, and it's more of refinement. When we say refinement, that it gives a lot of false alerts. So that refinement is only doing and helping these false alerts go down, so that the reliability factors improves, and every time the operator attention is required, so they look for something which is relevant on the screen. So here again, sir, what I was trying to say, and we've been talking more of open sourced software, but that doesn't mean that these licensed softwares, so they are to be discouraged or they don't have any benefits. Yes, everything as far as long as things go fine, those are pretty good software, easy to use, free to use. But when it comes to support, then the challenge is there. So you have to be dependent upon the community, some developer who did that particular code response is awaited from them. Vis-a-vis, if you have a licensed or a paid software, means you are assured of the dedicated support and you are assured of the continuous updates. So that is definitely the advantages there. The customization is pretty fast. And we talk of these compressions on the CCTVs. With the growing level of resolutions, the compression is a big challenge. The cost of storage is much more than the cost of actual CCTV hardware. So those compression technologies, they are also playing a very important role in two form. One is that it saves on the hard disk. The encryption helps in not tampering the data, because eventually, talking of evidence, these law enforcement agencies, they need to get hold of the untampered data. So we all come across various different video clips on the social media where you see the tampered video or fabricated video. So these watermarked videos, they help a lot in gathering the evidence and helping the law enforcement agencies. So these are the development areas which is happening on the encryption, because hacking is also getting more and more serious problem, and that's how it's a race between the hacker and the developer. These are the things, sir, which is going to help more and more refinement on the analytics and more customization on the your hardware compression on the video surveillance system.
Other question is related to access control system. After CCTV system, the most common security system industry uses nowadays is access control system, and probably in access control system, uh, many establishments are migrating from card-based system to biological references, biometric system. Biometric system has some issue, because in industry we do not want false acceptance. False rejection may be tolerable, because ultimately access control system initially when someone is trying to enter might get rejected, maybe twice or 8 times, but that is false rejection, which is acceptable. But false acceptance is not acceptable, because someone who has been verified falsely and gains the access is very big no in industrial security management. For that matter, any critical infrastructure. So considering what is false acceptance and versus what is false rejection, what today you find non-intrusive yet industry acceptable access control system technology.
Right, sir. This is a very important point which you mentioned, the FAR and FAA, FRR and FAR, so which is false rejection ratio and the false acceptance ratio. So it is still okay if some authorized person is not allowed or rejected falsely. That is still acceptable, because that can be managed through other means of authentication. But FAR, which is false acceptance ratio, if it is high, means even a single person is allowed by the system, someone who is not authorized at all or not there in the system. So that is a very dangerous thing to happen. And this is what is one main limitation or drawback of the biometric system. Though fingerprint and finger vein retina scan, so these technology have refined over a period of time, and you will see negligible false acceptance ratio. But on the face recognition technology, it is still under development. A lot of refinement has taken place all these years, but still the risk of false acceptance is pretty high as we compare to the fingerprint or the finger vein or the retina based biometrics. There is one more thing which has come into the access control system, the technologies. The earlier we were talking of vegan, as I mentioned at the start of this discussion. The vegan technology, which was a popular technology and is a industry standard protocol. You use any reader, any controller. But the limitation of vegan was that it was a single direction, unidirectional communication. The card reader gives the data to the controller. It's only one way. And later on, the controller cannot talk to the reader. It only connects or give command to the locks. And that had a limitation of 150 meters, the vegan protocol. Now, what we have something new in the access control industry. When I say new, it's already 2 years now. OSDP. It is Open Supervised Device Protocol. This is again become an industry standard. So this works on serial communication by the industry standard. It's RS485. Though this RS485 has been into practice for several years, several decades, but those used to be proprietary protocols over that RS485 serial communication. Now that same thing has been standardized and it has become a OSDP. This provides you two-way communication. Means if you have a LCD display on the reader, it could be a normal reader, or it can be biometric reader or a face reader. So the controller also gives back the command, and you can publish a message. This is two-way communication, and it adds more security, provides you more security, more number of bits of security as compared to vegan, and it's more difficult to hack. I would never use the word impossible, because it's only till the date a hacker is able to get their hands on it. So as of date, it is extremely difficult to hack. Additionally, it provides you 1.2 kilometers of length of wire. Means your controller can be at a distance of 1.2 kilometers away from the reader as compared to your older vegan technologies. So these things have added more security, more flexibility on the access control systems. One single wire can connect multiple card readers. That drastically reduces your wiring and cabling cost as well, and whereas providing you more flexibility. So this has already added on the encryption part, difficult to hack by adding a device, and it can again be connected to any standard biometric fingerprint or vein or iris or face reader technology.
So thank you, Abhiranjan. It was a very interesting discussion, at least personally to me, and I hope that it will give knowledge and in-depth insight on the subject to our viewers also. And I, on behalf of International Council for Industrial Security and Safety Management, thank you so much. It is personally and professionally my privilege to be part of this discussion. And I request my viewers to kindly subscribe to the channel if you have already not done it. And we look forward to your active participation. When you join the discussion, you are at liberty to ask the questions, raise comments, and be heard, be seen. Also, you are requested to suggest us the topics on which you want next discussion, and we'll be happy to accommodate those subjects for the discussion. Till then, I wish you a very safe and secure time ahead with your family and friends. May you remain very happy and healthy. Thank you very much. God bless you.